Hope you enjoyed the trip up my driveway. And then in West Virginia, for the most part, everything is either uphill or downhill. And that's usually both ways. So what I'm doing this morning is we're trying to finish out the soil beds in the greenhouse in the high tunnel. And I got really low on wood chips. So I'm running down with the big tractor, shuttling up a couple loads. My dump trailer right here over my shoulder still has 3/4 of a load of compost in it that I had to go buy. That's 3 scoops and that's $200. So I didn't want to dump it on the ground. I'm just shoveling it out into the wheelbarrow. But what I'm doing now is I'm just bringing these wood chips up so I don't have to dump my compost, take a truck down the hill, take the tractor down the hill, load a trailer up, come up, dump. So it's just easier with the bigger tractor to do this. It's Sunday morning, day before Labor Day, or Labor Day, Memorial Day. We're getting at it. We've got, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 beds or 5 beds left to do, and we hope to finish those up. If not by this evening, and by tomorrow. And the wife's already planting tomatoes. She just had to go run an errand this morning, and then I can finish out my French drain on the outside while she's planting, get all this done, and then probably go get some stuff to start planting my melons and squash and everything on the bank on the upper side of the greenhouse. But I want to get that French drain done, filled in and covered and everything before I even start that, because I don't want that stuff washing down into there. And I'll make some barriers, kind of like some what do they call those things where you just make it a hump at the top and at the bottom, so it'll slow the flow of water and everything as it runs down through there when it does rain. And that way it doesn't wash everything down, and that way we can keep that stuff right where we want it and help build soil. But this stuff, as you've seen, on come up the one part of the driveway here in the sunlight, you can see the steam coming off of it, so it's composting down, and that gives us a lot of compost for the winter to go ahead and backfill in here after we're done for the growing season. And then I'll get a bunch of leaves and stuff and put in there and everything covered up, wet it down real good, and tarp it for the winter, and that way we've got great soil come spring again, and we can start planting. The chickens, so last Sunday, a week ago, we processed 44 chickens, Freedom Rangers, 10 weeks old. We figured by 10 weeks that they averaged about 0.77 pounds per week, so just over 3/4 of a pound per week in growth rate. We went through 22 bags of feed, 20% non-medicated chick starter, and now that 22 bags of feed was shared with the egg layers, and there's 20 egg layers out there. Now, we know egg layers don't eat near as much as meat birds do, but 22 bags over 10 weeks between 44 Freedom Rangers and 20 egg layers. So great feed conversion in our opinion. We had 0 losses with these birds. These birds were fantastic. No issues whatsoever with them. All of the carcasses were very great, are very good looking. So we ended up at the 2 lightest were in the 4.9 range, and the 2 heaviest were just over 7. Most of them averaged anywhere from 5 to 6 pounds, just a little bit more. So, other than in comparison to a Cornish cross, the Freedom Rangers just showed a little less plump in the breast, but a little longer in the breast. And what I mean by that is the tail of the breast, it comes down towards their abdomen. So that tail just seemed to be a little longer, though they weren't near as plump. Just minimal difference. So we took 5 chickens and we cut them up and separated them out. And I think 2 breasts in a packet came up to like 1.9, 1.98 pounds. So still good size. When we were doing that with Cornish cross, we were just getting over 2.5 pounds at most. So not a lot of difference. Much hardier bird. Like I said, 0 losses, great feed conversion, great feed efficiency. And if you're looking for an alternative to a Cornish cross, I know in the past when we raised, and we've raised several hundred Cornish cross in the past. We were doing 90 at a time, so I would order 90. We would get 92, 93 chicks. And by the time at 8 weeks we would go to process them, we ended up processing anywhere from 70 to 74 chicks. That was the loss factor that we had. So 0 losses with these birds. The Freedom Ranger collar yields come at the end of July. We'll raise those out to about 8, 9, or 10 weeks, depending on how their growth rate is. They did really well last year. We actually wish we'd have probably processed them a week and a half, 2 weeks sooner than what we did, but because of family vacations and stuff, we kind of ran into that timeline. So a great alternative. I know a lot of folks kind of get tired of the Cornish cross and the losses and just the nastiness of the bird itself. So, you know, Freedom Ranger collar yield are great birds. The collar yield does tend to grow a little bit faster than the Freedom Ranger, but still a great bird all the way around. And all of these birds are sold. So I can't wait to get the next batch in and, you know, at the end of July, get them raised up, finish them out. Our customer base is expanding. A lot of people come up and, you know, nobody's buying one chicken. Everybody's buying 5, 10, 12 chickens at a time. So we're real happy with that. But I just want to give you guys a little snapshot of my morning here. Getting these wood chips up here. That's 2 loads right there. I'll probably do about 6 loads, and then if I need more later in the day or tomorrow, I'll go down and get a couple more loads. But we should be close to finishing out this weekend into tomorrow, and continue with the planning. I need to get a couple more cattle panels in there because we're going to do 2 complete rows of tomatoes. We're going to do green beans, cucumbers, peppers. We got peppers out the yin yang here. We got tomatoes out the yin yang too. More popular crops around here. And of course, outside we have lettuce, we have carrots, we have onions. So then we got to get it to working outside on that bank. And there's a local person that has a bunch of composted horse manure and hay and stuff like that. That's pretty much for giveaway. You pull up, they'll load you, you haul it off. And when I get this trailer emptied out of the compost here, that's probably what I'm going to do is go get that, and I'll just cover that bank in that, and then build our beds out of that for growing the melons and the squash and stuff. So we're working, man. We're going at it. The rat race has definitely gotten in the way. We're trying our best to get caught up on this stuff. We knew we were going to be late this year, but, you know, we'll just continue plugging along and hopefully get it done. And then next year it should be just a simple take the tarps up, you know, kind of top dress the beds with some fresh compost, hopefully on-farm compost, and we'll get to planting a lot earlier next year. And I'm curious to see how late we're going to be able to grow in this season. So I'm expecting definitely November, probably even into December, we'll be able to continue growing with no other heat source in that greenhouse other than, you know, the sunlight itself. So still a lot to do. Good God. I'm telling you, I can't keep up. If I was retired, I could spend every day doing this, not complain a bit, and I could get a lot more done. But of course, we're kind of stuck where we're at now, at least for the next 6.5 years. But we're going. Hey, we're moving forward. That's all that matters. Going for that self-sufficiency, going for that healthier food, you know, local grown, more self-sufficient, less trips to Walmart, less trips to any other grocery store, and more from just out in our yard. Folks, get and stay prepared, stay free. God bless you. And please, please, please enjoy your time with your family this Memorial Day. Remember, the reason we celebrate this day is for those we've lost. It's for those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. God bless y'all.